Hey guys, so today you and I are going to talk about firing somebody and then crawling to the cross trying to get them back. So let's get into it. Oh, this is a tasty one. This is a really tasty one because the question in question was literally, Frederick, I've fired one of my employees and now I realize that I need him back. How do I go about that? And this is like, this is bad. Bad, bad. If the worst thing, one of the worst things, maybe the worst thing that you can do as a programmer is to get fired for incompetency, this is the equivalent for a manager to fire somebody, then need them back. This is really bad. But I can sit here and I can talk about how bad this is. Hopefully this person knows how bad this is because you're in a really shitty negotiation position at this point. So I really do hope that you didn't fall prey to one of them like TV soap opera type of deals where you just yelled at them when they were getting fired or did it in a really brutal and bad way. This is one of the most important things when leaving a company or getting fired from a company or something like that. You should do your best to always be a good politician, basically, and make sure that you leave everything in a well fashion. Just try to keep things at a good level, because this idea that you're just going to take a crap on the manager's desk or you're just going to fire somebody in front of the whole department, stuff like that makes it really hard for future potential situations to play out in your favor, because you may have a Game of Thrones situation where, oh shit, this person you didn't care about at all of a sudden they're in a position of power that can fuck up your whole life. And if you've been really shitty to them, that's not going to play out well for you, or potentially it may not, depending on their maturity level or their personal grievances with you. So if you want to save the situation, I really only know one way to do this, apart from that you have a very good relationship with this individual. I mean, as an example, if you have a small company and you're basically not firing them because of incompetency or some type of issue with their personality or something like that, you're basically in a situation where we're not making enough money. I'm very sorry, but I need to cut costs, and then you kind of have to go that route. That is something that is going to, if you leave things well, I mean, no reasonable person will get angry at an employer for being very transparent and being very open about the situation, and in a very adult fashion and a professional fashion with mutual respect, saying that I'm sorry, we're just not making ends meet here and we have to let somebody go, and I'm very sorry to say that that's you. We would love to have you back in the future if the opportunity presents itself, but as it stands right now, we're in a bit of a bind. That is digestible to most people, I would say. Some people absolutely would not, even in this situation, would not like to be fired. Well, nobody likes that, I suppose, but it would be digestible. That means that reinitiating that contact afterwards will be possible. But if you did fire them in a, let's call it, more unelegant fashion, I really have only seen this work once, and that is you need to pay them a lot of money. And I will even go one further, and I will say that you should really consider if it's at all possible to do it in any other fashion. I mean, honestly, I would probably even go the route of hiring because I'm guessing that you need them back for a very specific reason. And I'm guessing that specific reason is that they have some type of knowledge that you can't really do without, and you realize that now. I would hire them back as a consultant. And that's going to cost you. It's going to cost you a lot more. But the reason why I suggest that is because the first thing you should think about is basically, you shouldn't think about them as a full-time employee again, because you can never, if you've done this in a poor fashion, you're never going to get their passion back, or like their interest for the company. Like, you're never going to get all these benefits back. You know, the damage is already done. So by hiring them back as a consultant, you can you can have the mindset that, all right, we're going to transfer their knowledge, or we're going to do something to make them less critical to the company, so that we don't find ourselves in the situation again where, you know, one individual is so important that we have to go through this. Because a company that sets up a work situation, and this is, if you take anything away from this, guys, take this away. The manager should be writing this down. If you put your work processes in such a fashion that you create these individuals within the company who are absolutely critical to the company, you are building a house of cards. Knowledge spreading, the thing that you don't like, which is most usually that people collaborate and, you know, they waste time, and they do pair programming and, you know, educate juniors and stuff like that. This is the sort of stuff that gets you away from having to rehire somebody at great cost because you just lost the critical competency within the company. These things matter a lot. So with that said, make damn sure that you don't think of this person as a permanent hire, because odds are that in a similar fashion to a employee that tries to leave the company, and then you simply offer them more money in order for them to stay, it's a very short-term gain, because it's very rare that just by paying them a bit more on top of what they're already getting to stay within the company, if they've already made a mental commitment to leave, as I've said in previous videos, it's very rare that a person only leaves because of the money. They're usually unhappy about something else as well. It's not all down to the cash. And that means that at best you're going to make them feel, you're going to put them in a situation where they as the employee feel like, oh, they were willing to pay me X amount more for the same job I'm doing today. I feel like I'm being cheated. And it's likely that you as the company feel that, all right, they're not as motivated, or they're not as engaged or committed to the company because they've already tried to leave. And that creates this weird situation where it's like the trust and the rapport between the employer and the employee has taken a bit of a hit. And odds are that they're just going to leave a little further down the road. So if you find yourself in this situation, because I have actually seen this happen, I worked at a company where they they laid off quite a lot of people, and then behind the scenes, after laying everybody off, they offered a few key people because they realized basically that shit were absolutely fucked without these people. They offered them a special deal. If they were to stay on as consultants for a certain period amount of time, they would get a payout at the end of that period, in order to just basically knowledge transfer. That's what they're like. They literally have that approach. And although I thought that at the time this was a bit of it was a little bit of a shady deal that they were getting, and there weren't all that many people who took this deal because of how the company handled the layoffs. It was still the right move at the conceptual level. Hiring them as consultants and making sure that everybody's aware of that this is a temporary thing until you can transfer the knowledge is the way to go here, because as I said, the damage is already done. You're never going to get back the motivation of a person that you fired in that fashion. There's always going to be these questions, and you've already lost that rapport. So what I want you to take away from this is that, at least from what I will argue, is that if you fired somebody and you try to get them back, hopefully you did so in a graceful manner, and you have the option of either just telling them that, yeah, we really need you, and that they will, for sentimental reasons, actually help you out. Or otherwise, I would say that you need to hire them as a consultant until you can transfer that knowledge that you probably are lacking, and try to have a plan for how to actually get somebody else in. And of course, never get into that situation again. You need to spread that knowledge so that you don't have these critical key people, because if you do have these people that are like basically the whole backbone of the organization, you're fucked. You should, as a good manager, foresee these sorts of things. It's extremely important anyway. And yeah, and just make sure that you're hiring them as a consultant, because odds are that you will never get them to be as committed to the company as they once were. So look at it as a transition period until you have somebody else in place now that can take over the workload that they used to do. Have a great day.